Okay, then we are live with another episode of BS Busters, and I have a very important guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, this is Kanashi Abominita here to say, hey ho, Scorpio is a joke, you know.
You know who I am, Mr. Red Fox, the host and proprietor of BS Busters, and we are here with another great episode. So the topics for today are, first we're going to talk about the Scorpio, our thoughts on it, our guesstimations, how we feel it's going to affect the market when it hits. Then we'll talk about the 3DS, does it need to die? And then we'll talk about, the last topic was just our thoughts about some movies that people hated that I personally liked, but some, bigger critics are like, yeah, fuck that movie. So without much ado, let's get into it. First, by sticking our foot in the James Bond villain Scorpio. So, I mean, what can we say about the Xbox One Scorpio? You go first, Kenoshi.
Back before Gen 7.5 started, we were promised that x86 is the future of consoles. This will make development much easier. I remember developers talking about when it came to the PlayStation 4, how this thing was a magical piece of machinery that made dreams come true, that could make babies come out of nowhere, that could hire you hookers and conjure up the most succulent steaks. And absolutely none of that happened. Mass Effect and Andromeda, that's an example. Let's see. Fallout, but Bethesda always they're never gonna fix that engine.
No.
There are numerous examples of games that are supposed to wow us, blow us away, show us, oh, this is the future of consoles. But all it's shown us is it's Gen 7.5. I even say maybe Gen even 7.25. The way these people
I would say 8.5. It's 8.5 right now, because even Xbox themselves said this is not the Xbox 2. This is basically an upgrade of the Xbox One. So basically, you're getting a super Xbox One, if you will, which sounds really cool. But you have to remember that this system is probably going to have the same issues that the Xbox One had, although diminished greatly. Because I mean, let's keep it real. Microsoft doesn't have the best first-party developers, so don't expect. And here's the thing: they want all their games to run on the Xbox One and this system too, and PC. So yeah. I mean, you're not going to see games that are going to blow anything out the water on the Xbox, on the Scorpio, or whatever the fuck they eventually wind up calling it. So this is their 0.5 console. Sony has their 0.5 console, which is the Pro, and this is the Scorpio. And Microsoft is doubling down on power because the most powerful console has always done really well in its generation. Actually, that's not true.
Microsoft is just so ass for it that Sony came out with a more powerful console, but apparently, they wanted to be the more powerful console or something. I don't know what's going on in these guys' heads. I mean,
well,
I hate to inform you.
I have a theory, and I don't know if it's true or not, but this is just my thoughts. Remember when Microsoft was canceling all those first-party games and shuttering studios?
Yeah.
Remember that, like last year?
Yep.
And I think that was because they had a limited budget to pump into the development for the Scorpio. I think the bank has shuttered their the purse strings were cut, okay, if you will. So they Phil Spencer had to move some money around in order to get the Scorpio out. Here's the problem. Because I mean, if you look at the specs of the Xbox One Scorpio, it's really not, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not impressive. Like, I guarantee you can get a mid-range gaming PC from last year that shits on the specs of this system.
Well,
for the same amount of money.
Apparently, people were talking about how they ported a racing game over from Xbox One to the Scorpio, and they were able to get 4K 60 pretty easily without optimization. So apparently the whole thing's supposed to be very custom.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sorry. Like at this point, when it comes to Microsoft and their promises, because remember how we were supposed to get remember how the standard was 1080p 60 frames per second at the start of the 7th gen, and we got very few games that were 1080p and almost none that were 60 frames per second.
Yep.
So, like I'm not gonna trust. I'm not trusting anyone because we all know Microsoft loves to lie.
The thing is, the reason I'm so cynical towards the Scorpio is we've been lied to. We've been lied to over and over again. Like, how many times are you gonna get lied to? How many times is are they gonna hit you over the head before you just say, stop hitting me on the head? It's like, come on.
And not to mention, even if the system is running things at 4K, that just means it's internally up-resing it through the hardware of the system to 4K. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, there are no games being made in 4K resolution from the ground up. They just don't exist. I'm sorry. I know people are like, this game's in 4K. Kind of, but not really. So people just need to calm the fuck down, take a deep breath. This system's going to come out. It's probably going to get a lot of cross-gen ports. Ports from the Xbox One to this system because everything's going to have to be backwards compatible or at least cross-compatible with the other systems. And developers are not going to give a shit because they want to go with what's cheapest because, they have a business to run.
Yeah, I don't see what the Scorpio is going to fix. That's my thing. I don't see what it's going to fix. I don't think it's going to fix anything. It's not going to be the saving grace to this industry as it pertains to a lot of these big publishers and these AAA games. I don't, because again, we've been lied to. We've been lied to twice already.
Well, thrice.
Three times.
Yeah, because remember, the original Xbox was supposed to be this really powerful system. It was on par power-wise with the GameCube. The GameCube was relatively powerful for its time, but really, the original Xbox and the GameCube were on par. The only thing is that the Xbox was more internet friendly and it had hard drives. And there was a lot of things you could do with Xbox. Like there were a lot of games on the original Xbox where you could basically rip music from your favorite CDs, put it on your hard drive on the system, and literally customize the music for certain games, which was actually kind of cool. You listen to something better than the shit it shipped with. A feature that they've taken out since then because, who wants to be able to customize their gameplay experience? That's stupid. I'm being facetious, folks. And then with the 7th gen, we got from Sony and Microsoft, oh man, 1080p 60 frames per second. Remember, we heard from many internet people and gaming websites and gaming TV shows and shit like that. The standard's going to be 1080p 60 frames per second. How many games did we get that were 1080p 60 frames per second?
Very small amount.
I mean, hell, we don't even get a lot of 1080p 60 frames per second games now. Shit. I mean, fuck the 7th gen, 8th gen, we don't get a lot of 1080p 60 frames per second games. So, I mean, we they keep on lying and lying and lying. And, the console manufacturers lie and say, well, it's because they aren't optimizing the game, which could very well be the case. And the publishers say, well, it's because the systems aren't powerful enough. But then I'm seeing first-party developers make their games do some amazing things. I mean, the Wii U had for Mario Kart 8, you had 1080p 59 59 frames per second. There was one missing frame. It just couldn't really. They didn't know where it was. But apparently, look, Nintendo, they're releasing the definitive version of Mario Kart Deluxe on the Switch. They found that missing frame. So, folks, if you want 1080p, 60 frames per second, Deluxe is. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to say that with a straight face. But yeah, we've been lied to multiple times. So at this point, I'm just very. I'm very hesitant to believe anything Microsoft tells me. Not to mention that Microsoft is not exactly, trustworthy. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next topic? Or
I don't. Everybody's talking about specs, talking about, oh, look at what this can do, titty flops and teraflops and tetaflops.
I want to see the games. Yeah, I want to see the game. Show me the game. If I see, okay, if the Xbox Scorpio, I'm still not going to get one, but if the Xbox Scorpio is having games on the system that showcases that makes a good case for why this system is important, then cool. But I mean, as it is right now, considering they canceled all these fucking games, like, it's going to be a third-party console. The problem is that most third-party games are on everything else. So what's the fucking point? And I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I personally think this is going to be the nail. I think the Scorpio is going to be Microsoft's last console. This is going to be their, hey, look, we tried, we did the best we could, and if it fails, they're going to be like, well, we did the best we could. We tried power, it didn't work. Fuck it.
This might be the Neo Geo 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they're charging a huge amount of money for it. Like if it's $500, it's because you have to remember most places cost consoles have between like a 5 to 10% tax depending on where you are on sold goods. So you're looking at $25 to $50 on tax. So if it's $499, just say $550. High end, and then you factor in Xbox Live, so that's another $50, so that's $600, and then you factor in an extra controller, that's another shit. The controllers for this thing might be, well, it's probably going to be using Xbox One controller, so I mean that's still $60. So now you're at $660. Then you factor in a couple of games and the tax on those games, so that let's just say that's $140. So now you have an $800 console. I mean. Like, seriously. I mean, I guess they're hoping that people will, Xbox fans will say, I'm trading this shit in. I'm gonna go get a Scorpio. But I don't know, because a lot of Xbox fans have PS4s. Like they were 360 fans, and then they got a PS4. So I don't know.
Yeah, and power really doesn't matter. I mean, look at why if it did. Why isn't the Slim? Why is the Pro not outselling the Slim PS4?
I don't know, man. I thought power was really gonna bring everything together. I think Microsoft's like, well, they're waiting for the Scorpio. I'm like, no. People are getting disillusioned. Like people want to buy something and be able to just fucking play the damn thing. They don't want to do a lot of extraneous shit.
What about
it's like. No, go ahead. Sorry.
What? Power this and power that. How come we can't talk more about efficiency? Like a possible future, instead of having 32 or 64 gigs of RAM, you could have 8 gigs of RAM that's just very fast and very efficient. Or, I don't know. a dual-core processor that's, again, very fast and very just proficient instead of, or maybe smaller hard drives, programs compress and decompress depending on the various tasks that they have to do on the fly, and stuff like that. But I guess maybe that's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, that is wishful thinking, because man, no one cares. No one cares about that shit. What's wrong with you, man?
It's like you don't really want more power. You want more efficiency.
Yeah, but I mean, that requires optimization. And I told you, man, that's a dirty word around here. We don't talk about optimization. We don't talk about efficiency. We talk about power, because fuck actually coding shit well. I mean, look, we don't have time to do that. What's wrong with you? I mean, like I've been grinding in Breath of the Wild to get better, to upgrade my gear, because I'm at the in-game portion. Like I'm just trying to upgrade my Breath of the Wild outfit, get the last 8 memories, and then I'm gonna record myself going into Castle Hyrule and beating the shit out of Ganon, because that's everyone has their everyone has their things, and that's my thing. But Nintendo created this massive world that is across both consoles, the Wii U and the Switch, and like there's all this random shit happening. Now I'm beginning to see the shortcuts they did in order to get it to work. Like there's not a huge enemy variety. They use they recycle a lot of enemies and just do palette swaps, and change their stats, which is kind of cheap, because you're like, shit. They're like, this is a forest Octorok. No, this is a forest. This is a Deku shrub. No, that's an Octorok. It's like, I get what you guys did. You did this weird stuff to code it a certain way because of the engine, the way you've used this engine. But
I do kind of miss the Deku shrubs, but the Korok, so it would have been pretty redundant to have the Deku shrubs in there.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think you could. I think you could have made it work.
I think the
world is so big that why couldn't you have a Deku tribe and a Korok tribe?
That could be the case. I mean, I just wish that they had a little bit more enemy variety. And I'm not saying they had to have the enemy variety of past games, but at least they could have different enemies in each region. Like, if you're in the Hebrew region, it's cold, so you'll have enemies that are like cold themed. Or you're in the desert themed. Like it's kind of annoying. You're visiting different regions, and aside from a palette swap, it's the same damn enemy. Like that's not,
Yeah, it's like the old RPGs in the '90s, where the stronger enemies were just colored swaps of enemies you met earlier in the game.
Yeah. This is a red goblin. Well, what's the difference? It's not the brown goblin. It's slightly powerful. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, punch is a little bit harder. That's about it.
That was not cool. But
it uses one of the abilities that the witch uses.
I mean that's one of the things. Now, see, this is how much Breath of the Wild is on our damn minds. It crept into something, and we weren't even talking about goddamn Breath of the Wild. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like that's essentially what's going down. Now, here's what I will say. Before we move on to the next topic, because I think, I mean, come on, it's the Scorpio. We don't like they get okay. Here's how pathetic Microsoft's reveal of the Scorpio is. They didn't talk about any games. They just talked about specs. Specs don't mean shit if you don't have games to show why you need these specs. And I guarantee you that throughout the life cycle of this 0.5 console they're coming up with, specs ain't gonna do shit, because developers aren't like, okay, it's like it can do 4K. Well, it's not really doing 4K. It's up-resing a lower definition game to a higher definition, but that's not 4K. 4K means, like we've said on numerous other podcasts, everything from the ground up is using 4K assets. And if that's the case, then you're talking games that'll be 200 gigs on if you're downloading.
And look at it this way: you have a car that has the engine that could power the universe. It can go up to light speed, and it can open up, travel interdimensionally, but doesn't have any gas to run. What's the point?
Or even worse, you have the engine, but you have nothing that you can use to create the vehicle so that the engine can travel. It's like nothing can withstand those types of forces. That's basically what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's too expensive. It's just too goddamn expensive. Like people, and look, I know Xbox fanboys, this is 4K gaming. No, it's not. It's 4K upres. The PS4 does the same damn thing. The PS4 Pro does the same thing. It up-reses it internally up-reses games to 4K, even if they aren't 4K. I have a device, a scaler that can basically up-res my games on my high-def TV. Like if I'm playing a standard definition game or a lower definition game, it automatically up-reses it. That doesn't mean that that game was made in whatever resolution. It's 2K for my HD TV because I don't have a 4K TV.
In order for us to get true 4K, we would have to have games that where all the assets were 4K, using 4K textures, and there ain't no way these developers want to spend the time and the money at some point.
Yeah, it's a time and money thing, and then these consoles, okay, 500 gigs is not enough for the PS4 or the Xbox One. So if 500 gigs isn't enough for 50, 60, Advanced Warfare was 100 gigs, but that was like 2 games in one, but still 100 gigs. If a 500 gig hard drive is enough for these people, then you know for sure as shit if you're doing 4K textures, like 150, 200, 300 gig games, really you'll get one damn game and be like, fuck it. You'll have to buy a hard drive. The games will go up to like $80 to $90 because a 300 gig hard drive is like on sale right now is $25.
Even if you had a 2 terabyte hard drive, you could still, like, if it was pure 4K, you'd still be paying. You'd still only get like 10 games on.
Oh yeah, plus you'll have to have the OS and whatever upgrades. So let's just say 2 terabytes, 500 gigs is just going to be for the OS and all the little extraneous applications and shit like that. How's it going, Jewel? Introduce yourself.
All right, so far.
All right, we're joined by Jewel Rider Moonstar, a regular here, so when she can get in. We were just talking about the Xbox Scorpio. We're gonna wrap that up in a little bit, and then move on to does the 3DS need to die? Some people have been making that argument. I haven't really talked about it because I've been saving my rant, my ideas, for this podcast. But let's finish up the Xbox One Scorpio with our predictions. Do we think it's going to do well? Do we think it's going to sell well? Do we think that it's going to really bring anything new to gaming? Let us know.
Neo Geo 2.0. About a few good games that are of high-end PC quality because it's well optimized, and they'll just end up in obscurity. And Microsoft will probably just be making games.
Well put. Yeah, that's what I think. I have to agree, but I'm going even more cynical than Kenoshi. I don't think the Xbox One, the Xbox Scorpio is going to do that well. I think it's going to come out. It's going to maybe sell 2 million, and then people are going to realize they're like, aside from prettier graphics, and that's if you have a 4K TV. Because even if it's up-resing something to 4K, if you don't have a 4K TV, what's the point? It's like you can hook a Blu-ray. You can hook a Blu-ray to a standard definition TV if you have the right cables, but that doesn't mean you're seeing the shit in, you know, that definition. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you have to factor in the 4K thing. Do you have a 4K TV? If not, the Scorpio is not for you.
Just like how the P4 was portable for people.
Oh yeah. It's 4K, but you need a 4K TV to enjoy these games. If you don't have a 4K TV, it doesn't really.
It's
makes
pointless.
No sense. Yeah, it's pointless.
Rumor has it that Sony's trying to come out with a slimmer version of the PlayStation 4K. Just stop, everybody. Just stop making freaking consoles. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
Or, you know, you could make a console that does something different and stuff. Because here's the thing. Like, having more powerful hardware over and over and over again is just, it's getting annoying.
I was about to say, it's been old since Gen 6.
Well, longer than that. Because remember, look, Sega tried that shit.
Look where they ended up.
Yeah, like, people forget. Sega got scared, okay? When I said earlier at the start of this conversation, of this topic, I said, you know, we've seen companies, the most powerful console has never won its generation. Not really.
I was about to say, and yet people are going to say, the PS4 has won the wars. Yeah. The PS3 did it all, even though the Wii had B-slapped everybody on the system.
I mean, it's great when you win a war and you know.
You win a battle but lose the war. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like that's the thing. The PS4 is winning the battle but losing the war because Sony is still losing money in this PlayStation division.
I was about to say, Nintendo's the only one that has been in the black the most. In fact, they only hit red once. Look at the pockets of the other two.
Yeah, I mean, let's really look at this, okay? I'm going to use Sega as an example because they are the most egregious.
And sadly, they are the most recognizable to be hurt by what they've done profit-wise.
Yeah, the most powerful third-gen console during the 8-bit generation wasn't the Nintendo. It was the Master System.
Master System.
Master System sold like ass.
I was about to say, I never heard of the Master System elsewhere except in Europe, and that was pretty far back.
Well, it did all right in Europe. It got drop kicked in Japan, and it did okay in South America and Mexico. But I mean, those weren't the big markets back then. The big market was the U.S. and Japan, and it didn't do shit in the U.S. and Japan. So then they said, "Oh man, we're gonna go with the Sega Genesis." Sega, and the Sega Genesis was designed. Really, the Sega Genesis was designed to curb stomp the Nintendo, not the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo. So, and it came out in '89. And Nintendo said, that's all right. We'll get your ass. Just you wait till 91. And then 91 came and Nintendo released the Super Nintendo, which was more powerful.
We could say how bad that went.
Yeah, I mean, well, over time, initially because Nintendo gave them a 2-year jump, they had a larger market share. But over time, the Super Nintendo overtook the Sega Genesis. And I mean, they made a lot more money. Nintendo made a lot more money off of their Super Nintendo than Sega made off their Sega Genesis. And Sega got scared. Sega got scared of the competition that came out in the 4th and 5th gen. Sega got scared of the Super Nintendo. So what did they come out with? The 32X.
So how much money has Sony reportedly?
I was gonna say, wasn't this a running joke that they went too fast for their own good?
I guess. What did you say, Kenoshi?
How much money? Like at least 2015, 2016. When's the last time Sony reportedly?
Well, last time, if I remember correctly, the PlayStation division itself recorded a $2 billion loss. Maybe it was like 1.8. It was like, here's the thing: they're still losing money on the PlayStation. And the reason they're losing money is because hardware doesn't mean shit for for
hardware that means jack for somebody that's supposed to be selling what is supposed to make things profitable for them in the first place. I mean,
for console
systems are supposed to be on that zero, as in they're supposed to be the thing that gets you in the door.
Exactly.
And the software is supposed to be what gets you customers.
Yeah, the software is where the money is. The software is where the money is at. Okay.
As I said, the console's the door, the foot in the door.
Yeah, and they don't seem to understand that. And
I was going to say they don't understand it to the point that their foot's bleeding right now.
So I mean, that's what happened to them. They're messed up. Things aren't working out for them. So I mean, I don't know what to say to you guys. I mean, like okay, the PlayStation 4 has shipped 50 million units. That's including the VR.
Billion.
That's including the VR. That's including the PS4 Pro. That's including the original PS4. It shipped 50 million.
I'm going to make a joke about this for a mile away, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I really think that the active user base is only like 30, 35 million. Because like everywhere you go, you see tons of PS4s. I don't mean in people's houses. I mean, you go to stores, there's like pallets of the motherfuckers. Just like, like no one's ever going to say, we're out of PS4s.
Yeah. I'd like to see the trade-in value for the PS4 and like the.
I bet you it's about $200.
There's a lot of let me put it this way. I haven't been to a GameStop in a while, but last time I went to a GameStop, there were lots of used PS4s and Xbox.
You took a very hot shower, right?
I felt dirty. I did feel dirty afterwards. I just for some reason I don't like going to GameStop, and I know some people are like, but I just really fucking hate going to GameStop.
For me, I have to go to GameStop.
Yeah, I feel dirty when I go to GameStop. Like I feel violated.
There's an interesting conspiracy theory about GameStop. Apparently, they had a breach, and
credit card breach. Yeah.
Credit card breach, and something about.
I was gonna say, really, a credit card breach that means that a lot of personal information just got jacked, and people are saying that, and those GameStop employees are trying to sell you those credit. Why?
No, it's there was a credit card breach, and a few months early, I think probably a few weeks back, they were talking about how they were going to shut down stores. So they might have faked a breach to, sell a few of their assets and then take a golden parachute. I forgot how somebody explained it, but it had something to do with they faked the breach to so their executives could get a golden parachute in case it all falls apart.
That seems a little convoluted.
Yeah,
that seems a little convoluted just to kind of. I mean, I personally do think maybe one of the employees was like, "Fuck these people! I'm gonna lose my job anyway. Fuck them," and maybe leak the information. That sounds a lot more plausible than that. Seems kind of convoluted.
Yeah, it does. It is very convoluted, but.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with my theory, but I mean, hey, listen, look, GameStop is a product of its time. It doesn't have it GameStop was great 15, 20 years ago when a lot of the people who are gaming now were teenagers and didn't have a job, or if they had a job, it wasn't a lot of money they were making, and they would trade in their old shit to get new shit. That's a cool idea when you're 15, 13, 12, 16, don't have a real job. You're trying to balance high school and working. But here's the problem.
How archaic are their standards?
Well, the thing is that a lot of those people are grown and they have jobs now. They aren't trading in their shit to get they aren't trading in their old shit to get new shit. So if you're not trading in your old shit to get new shit, and you are a business that's built upon people trading in their old shit, which you then sell to other people as used shit, at a markup value. You lowball people trading it in, and then you jack up the price, and that's how you make your money. And people aren't trading in their old shit like they used to. Your business model is going to suffer, and that's what happened to GameStop. Can't say I feel sorry for them because, I mean, anyone who's ever been to GameStop to trade anything in.
Oh, God. So I can say it.
Yeah, I haven't traded anything at GameStop, but I have been to GameStop to pick up stuff that I've ordered because it was a GameStop exclusive, those bastards. And like
I had to go to GameStop last year for the Pokemon events, so don't remind me of that.
I've heard them lowball people, and like I'm like, God damn! Like someone came in with like they had a PlayStation 3 and like 15 PlayStation 3 games. And it was like a 60 gig model PlayStation 3, and they were like, you know, like some of these games are really highly awarded and shit like that. This guy got $300 for $800 worth of shit, which
and
GameStop
he got jacked off. He got jacked off for mostly every penny that was worth.
But wait, it gets worse. The reason they gave him $300 was because that was in-store credit. He originally wanted cash. They were going to give him $180.
I was going to say this. Some people do not know that GameStop loves in-store credit rather than.
Yeah, because you spend the money in the store. But anyway, yeah, like, and I mean, I could give you numerous stories where I've like been in a GameStop waiting to pick something up that I pre-ordered because it was a fucking GameStop exclusive, and it's
don't remind me of that, because if anything, I always get this part. Are you here to try to check about the PlayStation 4? Are you here to check about the Xbox One? Oh,
my favorite was when like back in the day, I would go to GameStop to pick up a DS or 3DS game, or like a Wii U game or a Wii game.
And don't tell me they recommended trying to get Battlefield 4.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here to pick up like I bought Mario Galaxy 2 at a GameStop, and in the first GameStop I went to, they didn't have it. So I went some places like, well, you want this game? I'm like, I'm asking for Mario Galaxy. Does it look like I'd fucking want Call of Duty, you stupid motherfucker? You know? like I felt offended, but I digress. So I think we haven't we. I mean, we poo-pooed on GameStop a little bit. Let's move on to the next topic, which is, of course, does the 3DS need to die?
This is my topic.
Okay, you tell me.
And I'm going to say this right now. Barkeep, pass me another root beer, because, oh, gods. Seriously? Do I have to explain that there has to be a market for handhelds as well as consoles because of how different the markets are?
I don't know. Like the Switch is a bit of a unification of that.
Oh, F you on that. I'm sorry, but seriously, console first, handheld iffy. Because
look at it this way. They a few years back, Nintendo was restructuring to combine both their handheld and console resources. So I don't know how it's not a unification of the two.
That's to that the games come out faster, not that they're going to be on the same system all in one, and they're going to lump everything into one hope.
Wow, and can you be sleeping right now?
I guess it's yeah. How's it going? I guess it's time for me to slide on into this argument. Right now, I don't think it's a smart idea to. I don't think it's a smart idea for 3DS to die. The reason why is 3 reasons. First of all,
still making money.
Well, the 3DS at this point is, I think it's at the cheapest it's ever going to be for Nintendo to make 3DSs. There's still markets out there for them to have 3DSs go into. And even though people are saying, well, the Switch is the future of Nintendo, I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'll tell you the reason why. I think the Switch, as it is right now, is designed to eventually take the place of the 3DS. The idea of the Switch, of their portable, their handheld. But I think that Nintendo's next console will be something completely different from the Switch. I think that their next console will be more traditional in nature. But I think that the Switch is kind of like them testing the waters of what their next handheld is probably going to be. That's just me personal. But
I agree with that because of they'll find a derivative version to be like cheaper for people or for kids and for parents to buy at a cheaper price than $100 and then the $200, maybe like down to like $175 or $200 like the 3DS was. Yeah. But I don't think that, like Red, I don't think the Switch is, the Switch is going to take over 3DS because it's still making games for the 3DS.
All this, like I said.
Thank you, Enzo. Here, have a rupee on me.
And plus, it's not to their credit. And I know people are going to say, well, they fused their divisions together. That's for Nintendo proper. And part of it was because they do have a console that is, at this point, it's a console that's also portable. But let's keep it real.
It's a console first, not a portable.
Yeah, and plus it does a disservice to a system when there are no differing experiences. Like, there are games that work really well on the 3DS that on a console would not work that well. There are games that really work really well on the Switch that on the 3DS would not work that well. And I mean, to see, like, people like, I want to see this game on the Switch that was on the 3DS. Why? I understand that, you know, you want the bigger screen, but there's some shit that just really needs to be like
compact.
You need diversity in a market in order for it to work. And it would be folly for Nintendo to not have to stop their three-pillar philosophy. And I know what some people say, well, Nintendo's just going to use mobile as their third pillar. Mobile has a lot of problems because basically mobile is essentially
a landfill.
Well, the thing is that you don't have much control over your market, and you're only hot until you're not in mobile. It's like Mario Run.
It's mostly a Wild West.
Mario Run was hot. What, it had 100 million downloads?
Mm-hmm.
And you had a 3% conversion rate, which basically means that only 3 million people downloaded it. Now, if you have 100 million people, that's essentially downloaded the shit. That's your install base. But only 3 million people actually bought it. Like that's abysmal.
It's abysmal, but I don't think. To be fair, I don't think it took a lot of assets to make Mario Run. So
Oh no. But what I was
also pointing out, I know you know. I know. Yeah, I know you know, Red. Yeah, I know you know, Red. But I'm just talking like it just for people out there to put it in perspective. Like they didn't spend a lot of money and assets to do that.
Oh no. Look. Nintendo is the king of. Like they will take a penny, they will pinch that shit until it turns back into.
I was about to say they're the kings of resources.
I mean, they will pinch that penny until it breaks into 1,000 other pennies, and like, 1,001. But I don't think dividing up their market like that, like, because I mean, people who like to play games on the 3DS and traditional handhelds don't like smartphone games.
Yeah, it's a small overlap on that circle.
I mean, yeah, there is. It's very niche, and I don't think that games that should really be on a dedicated handheld do well on a smartphone. I mean, look at Square Enix with their Final Fantasy that ported to smartphones. Those didn't do that well because people are like, wait a second, no.
But I'll add to the topic since I came in later. I'm just going off of what you guys were just talking about. I didn't get at the beginning, but I'll add to what you just said right there. Like, what I can't argue with the two games. I mean, they only released like 3, where one really is not really a game, but just a social thing with Mitomo.
Yeah.
And then they released Fire Emblem Heroes, which basically wasn't successful, and Mario was like more funny that was more of a success because of what they putting the money into that one than Mario Run because more casuals bought it, which is not a negative thing to say. Just that the conversion rate, as Red just put out, to make into money really didn't turn out the way that they thought it would have. Which that's the nature of being on the mobile. That's just something, and I think Nintendo recognized that like we're not going to be rushing out stuff all the time because we see how the nature of mobile has its own beast.
It's very wishy-washy. Yeah, it's very wishy-washy, and that's why basically. Yeah, well, that's why I say that I don't think mobile is going to become any of their pillars. Maybe a fourth pillar, but not one of the three pillars, because it is very wishy-washy. You're hot until you're not. What if, like, someone could come out with something next week that eclipses
Pokemon Go or
Fire Emblem Heroes or Pokemon Go, and then people abandon it in droves and they start losing money, and it's like. I mean, if you're counting on, because look at the myriads of mobile studios that have gone under.
Capcom.
Now, Nintendo's not going to go under because they have other shit to fall back on. But what if they said, no, let's give up our handheld and just go complete the handheld, go mobile? I mean, you know, that's not a smart move, is what I'm saying. Now, does that mean they shouldn't, you know, throw something out there?
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, I was gonna say also when I look at the mobile market, is like kind of like what you said right there, Red. Is like, yeah, Pokemon. You got Pokemon Go, and everybody has derivatives of those same games, and Fire Emblem Heroes and stuff. Those games come with Nintendo Day, which basically works the quality of game that which they have, and two has like the better gameplay, but. Going on to what you were saying, like the people who got mobile, which is not against them, they don't know. They're not calling them. They're just a gamer all the time doing mobile. A lot of people don't sift through a lot of good stuff to get a lot of the crap to get to the good stuff. They don't.
Yeah.
It's not their fault because remember,
I just want to kill 15 minutes.
It's not their fault because most people who buy apps, mostly buy these gaming stuff, is out of word of mouth. One, two, there's so many advertisers. Like if you watch any YouTube video, an advertiser for a mobile game comes up.
Yep, Clash of Clans.
Clash of the Clans or Commando Strike.
It's ridiculous.
So people are not really going. They're not, and they're not really a true review site other than user scores of people. Really, that's all you could go by. Oh, this got 3 stars in Google Play or the Apple Store. That's as far as you could go. Really, there's no.
And some of these games are not fully developed and may crash at times. And I saw one that's 4 stars, and it was poking at my like of Pokemon for the star's sake.
Yeah, so it's its own like me and Red just said, it's its own beast to try to tame, and you are at the whims at Google and Apple, since those are the market leaders. So it's I would like for right now. I agree with Nintendo just doing couple releases once in a while, keep your assets low, make a little money off of it, keep your name relevant, because the major thing, and Red, you brought this up many times on your podcast before, is a transition to get the brand recognition to little kids and whatever, so they can transfer over to the 3DS or Switch or whatever platform Nintendo has.
Exactly, and it's better. And I know people are going to get mad. It's better when Nintendo has their own. Like it's like, hey, you like Fire Emblem on mobile? Well, I mean, this is like our more casual, simplified experience. If you want the real game, come on over here, play this one right here. You know, it's cheap. We got a bundle. It's like $150. You get both the game and the system. It's great, and that way they can sell you the software, which is where the money's at. And then they, you know, I mean, it's not a good business model to get rid of something that has no competition, because aside from Japan, the Vita is. Well,
I was gonna say DOA.
Or to quote McCoy from Star Trek, he's dead, Jim. He's dead.
I'll say this to adding to what you guys like. So when I just jumped in, the 3DS got games coming out. They just released 2 games right now. You got another one coming out next month, which is Fire Emblem Echoes.
Yeah.
It's basically almost at 70 million sold worldwide.
Yeah.
It has, and to produce a game on its 3DS, even a quality game, is not that expensive. It's really cheap.
Yeah.
And to also, again, like how Nintendo did Planet Robo, all they needed was 250 units sold just to make their money back. And they did
And that was in Japan.
And they did that shit in Japan in 1 month.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, everything above that is just gravy.
Yeah, so I think the same gonna happen with Echoes, just like they did with Fire Emblem Fates. So yeah, it's a viable market still. So why would I abandon it?
And I mean, as far as the 3DS successor goes, like their next handheld, like I said, I think it's going to be a Switch-like device. Except, and I hope Nintendo does this. Please make the shit backwards compatible with the 3DS, because that's a large library. Don't just
abandon it.
By the way, so, yeah, that's a large library of games, and I mean, you've got a 70 million install base. Don't throw that away to the side because reasons.
Evolution would be the joke here. Evolution, it makes things obsolete.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say just like try to keep some, because I mean, Nintendo traditionally with their handhelds has always tried to have some form of backwards compatibility with the last gen. So the Game Boy Color could play Game Boy games, the Game Boy Advance could play Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance games.
They managed to
with the mobile stuff. Yeah, they did it with the handheld stuff. Hopefully,
but keep some remnants of the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd be okay if the next Nintendo handheld is Switch in form factor, but I don't want for me, I just have that point of view where I'm like, okay, this is my handheld, this is my home console, and never shall the twain meet. Like I never bought a Super Game Boy. I found one at a yard sale, but like I gave the guy like $5 for it, but I didn't like go to retail. I wasn't like, oh man, I have to have a Super Game Boy because I had a Game Boy. What did I need with a Super Game Boy?
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say I actually was mixed about it because I had the Super Game Boy and I had the GBA player. Both of them are pretty good, and they actually helped me out when I was low on power with some of my games.
Yeah, I got you. And I never had a GBA adapter, but I did have a Super Game Boy, which for playing certain games for my on the TV for the technology at the time. That was
because you had the it was backlit. You had the bigger screen and everything, but.
Yeah, it was not a green color, and also in some of them, it was weird that it did let you play some 2-player games on the big screen, which for me at the time for where I was in my country, was a godsend.
Yeah, that was awesome. But I mean, for someone like me, it just never really.
Yeah, I got you.
It never was very an attractive option because I like to keep like I said, this handheld. This is console. Like I've used my Switch in handheld mode like once when I went to the movies. Speaking of movies, I think we've exhausted. Unless Kenoshi has something he wants to say about.
No, you guys.
I'll say one thing to Kenoshi. I don't know why you like that meat so much, man. You need to stop.
What meat?
Bear meat. But we are here to talk about people who hunt.
I got. That's what I was trying to keep it informal. But I was just saying that.
I just had to take one more shot. It was open, so I was like, you know what?
Okay, go for it. You pulled the Goku against Raccoon. But anyway, I guess it's time to talk about the final topic, and then if anyone has anything you want to add, because I don't think it's going to take that long. There are people who've been hating on Star Wars Rogue One and Kong Skull Island, and giving those movies negative reviews. I don't know, man.
Rogue One was a fantastic movie. I was very surprised.
The last 20.
I was going into that movie thinking, this isn't going to be very good. It's a spin-off. It's not going to be great. And I was really very surprised going into it.
Yeah, you're like, my God.
Slow. It started off kind of slow, but as it continues, like, oh man, this war.
I'm invested.
Holy crap! So many people are dying here. Wow.
Yeah. I have to say, I like the film too. I saw I mean, it did have kind of a slow build-up. It started, then it became a heist film, and you saw you saw the Rebel Alliance in a way that you never saw before. Because these people are fighting a shadow campaign against the legitimate, although highly corrupt, government of their republic. I mean, it's some harsh stuff going down. It's tough.
Well, the other thing I would say is that helped to give the aspect other than you never seen the rebels in a certain storm, and two, for the first time you see what it is when a Death Star attacks you from the planet side.
Oh yeah. I mean,
they never show all the time you show from the space.
Yeah, you saw it. Now, I mean, I know some people have had some negative things about the CGI Admiral Tarkin, but hey, you know.
Yeah, I got what you're saying, but like I said, for us, I'll speak for me. Like for me to see the old school, which I did, the first three, to see that the Death Star destroy a planet from the space point, boom, blam. Yeah, at the time it had an effect on you when I was young. And see that they blow up a planet, but to see from the planet side is like, dang, yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is a deadly weapon. That's deadly.
Death incarnate.
Yeah, that is tough. And I mean, but I'm just gonna keep it real. In my opinion, Rogue One is a stronger movie than The Force Awakens.
Much stronger.
It doesn't have characters that you're designed to like, but when I say action set pieces. Like it had some of the best ship fighting I've seen in the Star Wars since Return of the Jedi. I'm sorry, I know some people are gonna get mad at me, but man, those ship fights were awesome. And it showed Darth Vader in a light where there's a reason for years I was like, man, this Darth Vader, fuck it. He's coming. Well, I'm gonna kill myself before he can get me. And now we see the Darth Vader that made people say, "Oh God, I think I shit myself." Oh man, like we see the Darth Vader that terrified the galaxy and made people go, "Oh my God, it's Darth Vader!" Jesus, the only person more scary than Darth Vader in the Star Wars universe in this period of time is Palpatine. Think about that. Okay?
Yeah.
Like in Return of the Jedi, Vader is like, I'll see if I can help find ways to motivate your men to complete the Death Star faster.
Yeah.
He's like, but we're doing the best we can. Well, you can tell the Emperor himself because he's coming here next week. So, oh shit!
Watch their behinds run.
Yeah, the Emperor is scarier than Darth Vader. Now that is terrifying because you see Darth Vader in this at the end of Rogue One, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be fucking with him anytime soon. I'll be over here, gentlemen, sweeping the floor. And you'll never look at it like Darth Vader was like a slasher from a horror film. Like the door is stuck because it's like, oh shit, oh, open the door. I'm like, man, just throw that thing through the crack and kill yourself before you can get to you. That's the only way. Yep. That door ain't open.
Or the usual like most Asian kung fu movies, you're like, why even bother? He just kicked 100 guys' ass. So shit,
yeah,
I don't think for me.
What you gonna do?
The only thing that you could do is run. And
well,
I like you can run.
Yeah, because like Eddie Griffin had a. Yeah, like Eddie Griffin had a joke with Bruce Lee, and so kind of said Darth Vader. He was like, he was saying like Bruce Lee beat all those guys. He's like, and the master was like, go ahead and fight him. He said, wait, you're the master, you fight him, and if he whoop your butt, I'm gonna go with him. I ain't fighting him.
Basically. So yeah,
Smart logic.
Rogue One, in my opinion, was a great film. I know some people would be like, it had unlikable characters, and they're not supposed to be likable.
I was going to say, they're more like disposable.
Really, I'm going to tell you, the most likable character I liked was the droid.
Yeah.
I was like, man, if anyone could live, I want the droid to live.
But hearing from what from a couple people I do know in like movie land, a little bit for the connections I have, like a lot of people say the next episode in things pretty good because Mark Hamill takes a better role in this one. So I am looking forward to the new start, the next episode.
Is J.J. Abrams directing it?
I don't think so. I think I think they pulled him off after the Force Awakens.
I will be 100%, telling my bias that I do like Mark Hamill, and for a lot of people say that he there's like three people that I trust, and also there are a bunch of magazines saying like they said if Mark Hamill should get an Oscar for his performance in this next one coming up. So I am looking forward for that. So that piqued my interest.
Sounds like hype to me. How bad
well, I just admit my bias. I do like Mark Hamill. He's a good dude. So I'm not.
Yeah, I like him too.
So
I like his acting.
How bad is movie hype compared to video game hype?
Let's just say that there are some games that should be made movies with some of these hypes.
That's an intriguing topic there, Kenoshi. That's because there's some movies out there and even go back and forth because there's some movie hype that comes up, and the next thing you know, 2 months later, like, did that movie get released?
Exactly. I think movie hype, as it is now in the modern industry, is not as bad as video game hype. Because video game hype, you still have to have a certain measure of your imagination because the game could be awesome. But movies, you can look at the director, you can look at who's starring in it. You can be like, who wrote the script? You're like, that movie's gonna be garbage. Like, I don't care how much they spin it. I don't like Fantastic Four.
I'm destined to see the garbage bin or the retail sell shack.
Yeah, like Fox did the best they could to hype people up for that movie. And then it's like you heard all this stuff going on in the back, and you watch the actual, like, you find out that Josh Trank's like the actors couldn't read any of the Fantastic Four comics. It's not actually like they're getting these really young actors who have no chemistry with each other, based on comic book characters who were essentially called the first family of comics. So, family is really a big thing in the Fantastic Four.
I'll give an example of that too. Like, I literally walked into Walmart last week, and I was just walking. I was gonna get something else, of course. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot the Assassin's Creed movie came out. I forgot about it's on DVD already. So I was like, what the frig? I forgot that thing came out. I thought it was a game at first. I'm like, what is he doing in the movie bin? Oh shit, that's why.
Yep. It's like Ubisoft. I don't know how much money they lost on that movie, but god damn, like that movie bombed. I'm like, why would you do that?
That's a direct-to-DVD curse.
Like, why would you? Like, I knew that movie was going to be bad because the best video game movies are ones that are tangentially related to video games, but not about video games. Like The Last Starfighter, pretty great movie. It's tangentially related to video games, but it's not a video game movie. It's actually kind of like a knockoff of Star Wars and Star Fox, actually. But anyway, it's it was good. And then I guess the next film would be Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, I'll leave that to you. I ain't saw it, so I don't know.
It was how can I put this? People have been saying that they didn't like the characters. I'm like, my only gripe with the film is that it wasn't rated R. And if you got Sam Jackson in a film that's not rated R, so he can curse, it kind of loses its
power.
Je ne sais quoi. But I will say this much: he did.
You're right, because if you see a 50-foot ape, you're gonna drop a mother effer.
Exactly.
You're just gonna. I'm sorry, you're right. You got to, yeah.
Like there was a thing, like there's a nerdy black guy who's the scientist guy in this film, And I was like, wouldn't it have been awesome if this had been rated R and like someone said, you know, is that a monkey? And the black guy's like, well, actually, it's a gigantic gorilla. And Sam Jackson had just turned around and said, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing, motherfucker. And that Sam Jackson, well, it would have been perfect, but it's PG-13. They couldn't have it. I will say this much, though. Kong Skull Island was PG-13, like the 1980s PG-13, not the PG-13 we have now. Like it was 1980s PG-13 where it was like, this really should be rated R. You know, it's like this is like a man gets a stick, a man gets killed by a spider jabbing its sharp pointy leg down his mouth into his body.
Dang.
I mean,
that's a way to go.
Yeah, another man gets eaten by a giant lizard. Another person gets like another person pulls the pin on these grenades and he's like, eat me, and the thing is smart enough to realize, yeah, no, and knocks him into a mountain and he blows up. Very anticlimactically. And this film gets dark. I mean, this King Kong in this film fights dirt. It's like a parking lot street fight. It's like Debo versus Craig from Friday. he hits this monster in the head with a brick. I mean, a rock, but still the same thing. It's a brick. he's got brass knuckles, a chain. I mean, this movie is.
I got a question. Well, you saw the movie, right? So I have a question. So this Kong's believable that they could. So when they're trying to put the whole Kong and Godzilla, that they could work together. Like you see that the CGIs could work together. They don't look out of place.
Yes. This Kong in this film is 100 feet tall, but the thing is like it's still like an adolescent. It's still growing. So like at this point, by the time they do, by the time they get Kong versus King Kong versus Godzilla or Godzilla versus King Kong, like they'll both be of appropriate size so that it matters, and that's what it's, you know. Of course,
well,
I don't think it's gonna be Godzilla versus King Kong.
I got to the size. No, I got to the size. I was talking about like okay, like it was weird back in the day, you know, because some people tried the whole act. They have certain times when they had the King versus Kong versus Godzilla. The whole suit thing versus, you know, somebody suits meld together.
I hate that movie. It's not very good.
I'm just acting like CGI to CGI. That's my point.
Oh, no. This King Kong and this King Kong looks great. Like you can, okay. I mean, it almost feels like they got the animators for Donkey Kong in Brawl, in 4, where you can see the individual hairs. You can see the individual hairs on this King Kong. You can see the scars where he's been fighting other shit. Like this King Kong looks like he's getting somebody's ass. Like, and here's the thing: he's still like a damn teenager. It's creepy. It's like, God damn, this motherfucker's still.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very good film. I know some people are like, no, I don't like it. And for those of you who don't like the racist overtones of past King Kong films, where he's like, no, let me die for this blonde-haired, blue-eyed lady, because she's a beauty, and I have to die because I'm the beast. They have none of that shit in this film. You just see a giant gorilla beat the shit out of monsters. It's great.
You saw with Godzilla. Basically, he woke up and destroyed 2 monsters.
Basically, that's all we want. We just want to see giant monsters fight each other. Stop trying to pigeonhole some stupid moral lesson. Unless it's the original Godzilla with the nuclear war, which was cool. But aside from that, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I think we've reached almost the end. Anyone have any outward topics?
I got one more topic before, since I came in late.
Go ahead.
Trash.
Which is, I talked about this last night with a couple guys. I was talking about, and right now, I might do a podcast about it or a video about it. I don't know. Again, my time is limited now because I'm getting the full swing of doing stuff for my company. But the reveals: we had the PlayStation 4 Pro, we had a Nintendo Switch, we had an Xbox One. We saw when PlayStation 4 Pro got revealed, which was new at the time. They gave you all the specs. No, didn't tell you what the console looked like. Talked about VR, which funny as hell now. VR is not talking about that much no more. Then we had Nintendo came out, showed you the console, showed you people playing games on the console, even though some of the games were superimposed, but they're coming to that console. Then when the second reveal came around, they gave you the price, they gave you everything that you need to know about it. They reveal the whole thing, and again, they talk more about games and features more than specs. Then Xbox Scorpio just came out. They gave you specs again. A stupid ass Mac class that make no goddamn sense.
I was gonna say, and they didn't show any games at all.
Didn't show no games, and didn't even show what the console looked like, or they basically speculated on the price. What is going on? That's why gaming is basically dying off because of that kind of nonsense.
No
and that's
this takes me back to the bit wars of the 5th and 4th gen. Except the bit wars back then, after the 16-bit, didn't really matter. It's like, we're 32-bit. Remember the Jaguar? Well, what's 32 plus 32 is 64. This is only 32. What's bigger, Billy? What's bigger? It doesn't matter. What matters is how you utilize the tech. And we've already been told by Phil Spencer himself, the Xbox head, who basically said, yeah, they're not going to be any exclusives for the Scorpio. And someone's playing Link to the Past?
That would be me.
That is perfect. The way you just said it, it is a link to the past where we had real true wars, and now this is just
we're having another spec war. And I said this earlier. The Scorpio is the nail in the coffin for the Xbox because it's going to come out. It's going to sell maybe 2-3 million units. It's not going to be enough to really, because none of the games are going to really be that impressive.
Or you could get it over to the PC because it's not really that exclusives.
Yeah, it's either going to be on the PC, it's going to be on the Xbox One, it's going to be on the Scorpio, and just slightly better graphics. It's 4K, only if you have a 4K TV, stupid. And I don't know about you, I'm not spending $2,000 on a 4K TV.
And it's still not. I'm liking how these game designers, I know this is some topic for some people who come to your channel, Red, but I like how these game designers say, oh, you're going to play natively 4K. No, you're not.
No,
you're not.
I said this earlier. No one is making 4K games from the ground up. Like, they might put some 4K textures in.
I'm going to say, that's a bank killer.
Yeah, that's not 4K gaming. 4K gaming means that everything from the ground up, from the pixels, the sprites, everything from the ground up is in 4K, and no one does that.
Nope. But everybody using buzzwords to hit that, to get that thing crossed. They could go buy this and buy that. And again, with all that stuff, even with a 12 gigabyte GDR5, all that stuff that they put in there, like,
all of those,
if this thing is out of two things gonna happen. I'm just saying, you're going to really, that thing gotta be another $500 console. You guys are bitching about $299 with Switch. This is gonna be a $500 or $600 console at the most, and if not, and Xbox,
that's gonna be right next to $9,900. I mean, that's gonna be next to $900 easy.
Well, because if I got, and again, I could get this wrong because I didn't watch the reveal. I'm just looking at news and articles and stuff like that. Did they say the graphics card was a 12 GDD5? Did they say that was graphics card, or was that just a memory outlet? Because that I gotta be the graphics card. And if that's the case, then ain't those graphics card on PC like $800-900? Not that easy on the sound, Jewel.
Huh?
It's too loud.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, ain't those graphics cards like $800, $900, $1,000 just for those graphic cards? I mean, if that's what it costs just for the graphics card, yeah, they're gonna sell this thing at a horrible loss.
Yeah,
and the thing about it, without the games to supplement the loss, then what the frick? That's crazy.
And they canceled all those exclusive titles. And like, if you don't like, exclusives sell consoles. The reason the Switch is selling so well right now is because of Breath of the Wild. Let's just keep it real. Okay?
I was gonna say that's gonna be one of the big exclusives, since there's gonna be many more soon.
And when sales start to go down a little bit, they're gonna drop Splatoon 2. Boom! You can only get this on this. And then when sales start to go down a little bit more, they'll drop Mario Odyssey. And then they'll drop something else. Like, exclusives are what really make, because it's like, I can only get this here. It's like the reason why some people go to Burger King is because McDonald's for Big Mac. You know, I want a Big Mac. You can only get a Big Mac at McDonald's. You can't. You could go into a Burger King and say, "I want a Big Mac." We don't sell a Big.
But if you want a Whopper, you go there, because that's what you go there for.
Whopper. That's what you go there for. I don't understand people like, "Nah, man, I want. There are no console exclusives." Yeah, there are.
And yet people are complaining that there's no games for systems. Why?
I mean, I'm just doing. I already talked about it again. The both other consoles, the HD twins, as people used to call them, they didn't talk about games. No, I give it. PlayStation did talk about more about games. They talked about VR, which of course didn't work out the way they thought it would have worked out. Not surprising, because me and Red said that millions of times. We said there's no practical use in that stuff. But other than that, that's about as far as it went with the other two. Everybody else, but when Nintendo revealed the one in back at the Switch in back October, you saw what the console was. The first thing they showed was Zelda. Next thing they showed you was Mario Odyssey. Like, they showed you games. The thing that makes you, again, it don't matter if you got a fancy yacht. It don't matter if you got a Lamborghini. It don't matter if you got a Lear jet. If you ain't got no fuel, that's just ornaments.
Yep.
That's nothing. You need the fuel, which is software, to do something with the damn thing to enjoy it.
But no one's ever going to mention that. So I mean, we've beaten this dead horse. We've beaten it, and it's not moving. It's dead.
I was about to say it's about.
We've beaten the horse. It's moving. It's moving. There's a lot of gamers in there who just thrive on rotten carcasses. It ain't us.
Okay, fine then. They're beating the dead horse, but I mean, I just wish people would just calm down. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the real important thing is how the stuff is being used, not it's. I mean, if the Scorpio comes out and we're not seeing games that are being made differently, or utilizing the hardware in new and interesting ways, what's the point? This is just a super Xbox One, which is, to me, not impressive, but that's just me. Let's wrap things up. And this was a short cast, only an hour and a half, actually less than an hour and a half. Everyone give their sign-offs and pimp out what they want to pimp out, and then we can wrap things up.
I'll start off if you guys don't mind. This is Joe Ryder, and I've managed to at least keep up with you guys for once. And I've been doing some My Two Coins, so if there's anything that comes up, you're going to be seeing those come up soon in Video Game Facts.
Well, this is like an enduro. Like I said, basically, I woke up in time this time for a BS Buster. So, basically, check out the channel if you you want to talk about games as usual. But basically, it's a coin flip from the other side of the coin will be I ain't gonna say E in that as a difference, but enduro channel is basically as stylized from BS Buster, Mr. Red Fox himself. So, check out the channel. Hope you enjoy this stuff, and I'll catch y'all next time.
All right, Kenoshi.
Hello, this is Kenoshi Abominito. I don't really have anything great to say, but it's nice being on another one of these casts, and see you in the next one.
Always good to have you on a BS Buster. This is Mr. Red Fox, about to sign out. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm glad you guys listened. there'll be another one next week. You know, we have one every week, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to 8:30. This is one's ended a little late because we covered everything, but look forward to it. I don't know what next week's going to be about, but whatever it is, it'll be fun. There'll be some bullshit. We'll bust it. Good night and good luck.